I'm Julieann Hartman, and this is my husband, Butch Hartman, and this is Heart to Heart. And thank you so much for joining us today. This is going to be an awesome show, sweetie.
Well, I hope so. Well, that's the whole point, is to make it awesome each and every time.
It's always a great show, but today is really good because you know what? How many shows do you hear on TV that say the title is Where is God?
That's
like, where's Waldo?
There weren't any sitcoms this year that came out called Where is God?
No.
You know, there's always like, there's The Apprentice. I know there's a show.
But
there's The
God's
Bachelor.
probably not in that.
No. Where is God? No, I can't think of a show actually that has that in the title.
Not too many godly principles are in television shows on,
No, it's very hard to find those these days. You know, it's funny when I watch TV anymore. We have two teenage daughters, and even when they were younger, we'd try and watch television with them, and just network television, all the TV and things. I'm a huge TV fanatic. I love television. I've always watched a lot of TV. Not in a bad way, though. I mean, it actually helped me with my career because I'm a cartoonist. But when I was younger, growing up, you could watch television, and the shows were really
wholesome.
Well, I don't want to say the word wholesome.
Well, they were, though.
Well, I would say they were super wholesome, but they were just a lot more geared toward not offending you, but entertaining
right.
you.
And now,
well, hold on. There were drama shows too that weren't really funny, but a lot of shows were made. They're made like to shock you now. A lot of shows are made to shock.
Right.
It's shock value. It's like, what horrible thing can we put in a television show to get ratings?
Right.
You know, we can either put a ton of sex in there, or we can put a ton of murder in there,
right.
or a ton of
just freaky, like something really like bizarre, like Paranormal Activity. That movie. That I know it's not a TV show, but it was a movie. Who wants to see that?
Well, I mean, a lot of people did. It was a very successful movie,
I
obviously.
know,
but see, the thing is, it's almost like when you dangle that forbidden thing in front of people, it makes them more curious and they want to see it.
Of course, but see, because of the internet and believe me, the internet is a blessing too. But because of this kind of stuff, what happens is people start getting these just blown out ideas of what reality is anymore.
Well, the point exactly. I guess the point I was trying to make about the TV shows is, when we tried to sit down and watch TV with our girls, we really couldn't find anything for them to watch. It was always, there was either something really shocking or really sexual. Even in the sitcoms that came on at 8 o'clock at night, they all became very sexual all of a sudden, very, very open about premarital sex and about things that really weren't very savory for kids to watch. And now I would even have a tough time sitting there watching the commercials for other shows.
Oh, I know.
We'd be watching a show, let's say like American Idol, which is one of the few shows, not here pushing American Idol, but American Idol is one of those shows you can actually watch with your family. And so we'd watch American Idol, and then the commercials for the next shows would come on, and those would be super shocking and frightening, and I have to turn the commercials off for the show. Anyway, the point we're trying to make is, it really seems that a lot of, I'm not very fond of this term because it's cliched to death, but family values have been taken out of our entertainment things that, today. And I'm talking about movies, books, TV shows, anything you can really, anything where people have their eyes drawn to. It seems like there's a lot of shock value placed on it because people think that's what's going to sell. Yeah. The world thinks that's what's going to sell. And especially things in our country these days, too. Our country is really kind of, I guess, sliding off the rails in many, many ways because it kind of goes back to the year. I'm just going to get off, not off the track, but kind of get back onto my point here. Back in 1962, an amazing thing happened. What happened in 1962?
Well, I was born.
She was born. Now, if you're going to do the math out there, you can add up her age. Let's just say we're filming this in the year 1992, okay? So she's not very old at all. I'm kidding. But in 1962, Julieann was born. But something else very important happened in this country, and that was, you know what that was?
Yes, that's when they took prayer out of schools.
They took prayer out of schools because a woman named Madalyn Murray O'Hair, who was an atheist at the time, she's passed away since. I don't know if she's still an atheist, but she's an atheist, and she really pushed to get the Bible taken out of school. And before that, when you went to school in the 50s, 40s, 30s, and even in the very early 60s, there was prayer in schools. Right. And people think, prayer in school, wouldn't that hurt the kids? Doesn't that influence the kids in a negative way? Well, let's look. Let's see what you think, because I've got a list of stats here. About things that have happened in our country since the Bible has been taken out of school. So now, 1962, the Bible was taken out of school. Exactly. Right. So let's see. Since 1962, the amount of pregnancies to unwed girls has increased dramatically. The amount of premarital sex has gone up since 1962. The divorce rates have almost quintupled since 1962. Divorced families have gone up. And violent crime has totally increased by astronomical levels.
And
it's almost as if once there was once people realized that they didn't have to be accountable to something, once people took God out of school, and kids were taught that, oh, there is no God, you're sort of on your own, just go out there and do what you want. It seems like it's kind of been a free-for-all since then. What were you going to say?
Well,
Sarah?
no, I was going to say is that, think about it. What's in a prayer? I mean, I know that there are people that have different kind of prayers. I mean, I'm talking about a Christian praying, first of all, protection of the children, bringing knowledge to the forefront of their minds. That's the kind of prayer that I'm thinking about. Now, what could be harmful about that?
Well,
who would be against something like that?
The people that are against something like that, the people that want God taken out of school and taken out of public places, like off of our money. We want to take God off of our money. We want to take God off of our public buildings. We want to take God off of things in our country. When this country was started with Judeo-Christian values, the people that want to take that off are the people that don't want to believe that they have to be accountable to anything. Because if you're not accountable to anything, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
See, when there's God in your life, when God's in your life, when you have to, not have to, but when you
get to.
Well, when you get to, exactly, when you get to follow the Lord, or when you get to pray or go to church, when you believe that there are certain rules and morals that have been set down for you to follow, people don't like to follow rules. People don't like rules. They don't people like to run around and do whatever the heck they want. And let's face it, when's the last time you had to teach a child how to be bad?
Right. No, you don't.
Don't you always have to? You've always got to teach a child to be good, right? And so when the Bible and prayer were taken out of school, kids were sort of taught that, hey, nothing made you. You were made yourself. And that's where the theory of evolution really started to take hold. Now, the theory of evolution has been around for 150 years, but it really, really started to take hold after the Bible was taken out of school, because teachers had to start explaining where kids came from. Teacher, where did I come from? Well, you came from this monkey or this rock or this lizard that evolved into you. Now, I don't know about you guys, and I'm not. You can have your own beliefs out there, but I don't think my great-great-grandfather was a rock.
No.
My great-grandfather was a guy named Elmer Earl Hartman I, who was born in 1855 with an awesome name of Elmer, but I'm Elmer the Fourth.
You know what? I just want to give an example. When Sophia was in third...
Sophia's our daughter. She's 13 years old.
Sophia was in third grade, and the teacher was reading a book to them, and Sophia had told me this because, we raised our kids. Our kids know. Our kids have biblical principles as a part of their life every single day.
Our kids have been taught that God is the creator. That's what our kids have been taught.
Well, this has nothing to do with that. But anyway, she was reading, and she went to say something, and she goes, "Oh, I can't say that." And I'm sorry. No, she said first. She goes something about Lord, and meaning God. And she went, "Oh, I can't say that."
Wait, the teacher said that?
The teacher said that.
Okay, yeah.
And so I asked her, I said, "Why would you do that?" She goes, "Oh, I'll get in trouble if I say God or if I say Lord." And
you can say Buddha,
right?
And you can say Muslim,
right?
And you can say Allah, and you can say anything else but God or Jesus in schools. It's very, very interesting. It's almost as if there's an adversary out there who doesn't want the name Jesus or the name God said in public places for some reason.
But look at it this way.
I wonder what the reason could be.
But think about it. When people hurt themselves or they get mad, the first thing they say is Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because
How come they don't say, "Oh, Buddha, I hurt my foot"?
Yeah, because the world has been taught that it's interesting. I mean, it's almost like when you have an enemy. Right? Yeah. If you want to discredit somebody or make them look bad, what's the first thing you do? Is you start saying bad things about them. Right. You start spreading rumors about them. You start saying things that are unsavory or things that things that are embarrassing. Right. It's almost like there's been a lot of. It's almost like Jesus. If Jesus was something we shouldn't pay attention to, it's like nobody would be paying attention to him. But it's almost as if there's someone out there trying to make us think bad things about him. So we'll not follow him, and that will turn against him.
Right. And you know what, sweetie, too, that there's a statistic for unmarried couples, people that are living together. Mm-hmm. It was 1 out of 85 couples were living together and not married. And now it's 1 out of 25.
So it's actually increased. It's like there's more couples living together.
Absolutely.
Without being married.
But
I know a ton of couples that aren't married that have kids
but the kids don't. We're not sitting here putting judgment on people because
no, we're not.
I lived with boyfriends before.
You had boyfriends before?
Oh my gosh, it's the first time he's ever heard this. I'm so
You know-
sorry, sweetie. I had a boyfriend before you.
You and I actually, before we were married, I wouldn't say we lived together. We spent a great deal of time together.
We spent time
though,
together, but
in the same house.
yeah, but still, you didn't move your clothes over, but I lived with different men. So, but I was caught up in that whole thing. No one told me. I didn't have God in my life. All I thought was God was a condemner and a judger.
You know, my first thing growing up as a young man was I just had to find any girl I could to date and to do whatever I wanted to with. That's what I was taught. Now, no one sat me down and taught me that.
Of course, by the time it got to me, that changed.
No one sat down and taught me that, but I had my view of the world was get what you can while you can get it, because you got to look out for number one. And when I became a Christian person in my 30s, it took me until into my 30s to realize that hey, whoa, there's these morals and these rules that have been here all this time that were looking for me. See, God was trying to find me my whole life.
Yes.
You know, and I was running from Him. And again, we're not out there judging anybody, but we are trying to encourage you to look at your surroundings, look at your country, look at your marital situation, look at your home life, look at the situation you're in right now currently, and see, I wonder if this is if this is the best way I could be living. Is this the ideal way my life could be going right now? Maybe there's something else out there for me. I'm not saying it might not even be Christianity for you, but I am encouraging you to look at the world around you and see the way. Now, there's an expression in the Bible. It's a scripture actually. It says wide is the way and broad is the path to destruction, but narrow is the way and difficult is the path to salvation. Meaning this: if you're following the crowd into the giant open arena, that's where everybody's going. It's easy to get there. It's probably not the way to go. The way to usually go is the hard way, the way that's not lit up, the way that is hard to find, the door that's not lit up. That's normally the best way to go, and that's the path that I've chosen to follow. Mm-hmm. Not saying you have to follow that path, but when I followed that path, my life became a whole lot better. And we're just trying to encourage you out there to find the best path for you. And we have a foundation scripture we want to close with. We have a very cool one today. It's from the book of Romans 12:2.
Right.
It says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And renewing means when you renew your mind, you don't renew it just once. It's a constant process of renewing.
No, it says renewing, which means it's every day. We all have to do that. I have to do that. Listen, why do you think I'm in this Bible every day? And you know what's awesome is that every day something becomes new. You know why? Because we serve a living God, and God that is alive every day and growing constantly. That's what we're supposed to do. It's like we think sometimes, well, I've read the Bible twice all the way through. I've arrived. No, you haven't, because you probably read it like a novel.
Well,
you didn't read it with the discernment of letting the Holy Spirit pull scriptures out.
Yeah, the thing is you have to
exactly.
The thing is you have
your life.
Sorry, the thing is you have to really understand that changing yourself is a process. It's not an instantaneous thing.
No.
So,
every day.
And we are running out of time.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Okay, well.
And while we're wrapping up and while the credits are rolling, I want to talk to her about all the men she lived with. Anyway,
I'm
this
sorry.
is
God, that's horrible. It's the first time I've ever told him that. Well,
no, it's fine.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's Julieann Hartman and Butch Hartman saying that we will see you soon, and from our heart to yours, have a great day.
Bye.